Okay, and welcome back, students taking Math for Business and Finance and Math Applications, and we are working on the Chapter 18 word problems, the odd-numbered problems. So let's just jump right to it. We are working on 23, and it says here, Bill Float, based in San Francisco, will pay any of your qualifying bills and then automatically deduct the amount of the bill plus fees and interest from your bank account within 30 days. The company registered 190,000 users in 2011 and made 80,000 loans averaging $160 each, with rates up to 36% APR, not including fees. Okay, if Bill Float wants to distribute $45,000 worth of overhead by sales. Calculate the overhead expense for each department. Okay, so again, in working a word problem, remember you have information that's directly related to the problem, has nothing to do with the problem, and information that might have to be manipulated. So when we're reading this problem here, Bill Float pays bills, and they'll automatically deduct the bill plus fees and interest from your account within 30 days. Right? Registered 190,000 users, that has nothing to do with the problem. Okay, and made 80,000 loans averaging $160 each, has nothing to do with the problem, and rates up to 36% APR, has nothing to do with the problem. So if you're trying to work with those numbers, you're wrong. Okay, because why? We're just distributing overhead here. Okay, we have a total overhead amount of 45,000 that we're going to distribute amongst these three. So in the distribution of overhead, we have to create ratios. Well, we need to know what the total of all the departments are so that we can know how much by percentage each department gets. So when I add up 5 million, 5.12 million, 4.48 million, and 3.2 million, I end up with 12.8 million. Okay, so if that's the total, right, to get the ratio for each department here, new customer sales, NCS, current customer new sales, CCNS, and current customer loan extension sales, CCLES, notice I had said department, and I did that on purpose because I know it says here overhead by sales. But I had said department because I want you to be able to associate in your mind, how do we distribute? Well, we distribute by department, right? But yet we're not talking about departments here. We're talking about sales. Okay. Well, it doesn't matter the terminology whether I say department or I say sales. Okay. The process is still the same. Okay. So, it's understanding the concept, and if you understand the concept, you can apply it to any situation, even though there's a difference in the terminology. Okay. So with that said, we're going to take NCS here, and it's 5.12 mil, and dividing it by the 12.8 mil. Okay. Mil is million, obviously, and that gives us 0.4, 40%. So this is 0.4. We do the same thing with CCNS, all right, in that we are going to divide the 4.48 million by the 12.8 million, and that's going to give us 0.35%. And then obviously we can do this either two different ways. We can either add 40% and 35%, which is 75%, and then subtract it from 100, which gives us 25%, because remember this is 1.00, right? Or we can take the 3.2 million and divide it by the 12.8 million and get the 0.25, okay, the 25%. So two different ways of doing it. Me personally, it was just easier to add and subtract, so I probably in my head mentally, okay, I don't like writing on paper if I don't have to, or punching a calculator if I don't have to. I probably would have just did what I did. I went, oh, okay, 40%, 35% of 75 less, and I hit 25%. In my head, doing simple math, it would have been a lot quicker than using a calculator. Okay, so now that we know how much our total is, and we know what our percentages are, all we have to do is just take that total, 12.8 million, and multiply it by each of the percentages. Okay, so that comes to, oops, I'm sorry, not 12.8 million, 45,000. Okay, take the 45,000 and multiply it by 40%, and that gives me 18,000 for NCS, so that's 18,000. We take the 45,000 times 0.35, and that gives me 15,750. So that's 15,750. And again, I could add these two together and subtract it from 45,000 in order to get the third one here, or I could do the math and come up with the 11,250. So that's my expense allocated to each department. Okay. Now, that's the end of the the problem. But I'm going to just point something out here, and then since I only have a couple of minutes for this video left, I'm going to talk about just real quick. Think about this here, about this problem. Bill Float, based in San Francisco, will pay any of your qualifying bills and then automatically deduct the amount of the bill plus fees and interest from your bank account within 30 days. All right, now think about this. Is this a good business model? I mean, if you have, and I'm just going to make some numbers up here, if you have $10,000 in bills, okay, right, and you want them to pay, okay, well, what they're going, I mean, if you had the 10,000, you should pay the 10,000, all right? But if you don't have the 10,000, you're going over to Bill, and he's saying, okay, I'm going to charge you 10,000 plus fees and interest. Okay, well, that's a hell of a lot of risk that he's taking. Why? I mean, he's going to pay the 10,000, and then he's going to charge you in the hopes that you're going to pay back the fees and the interest. Right? Well, if I said to you, hey, pay my bill for me, and then will I want to pay you back? Well, no. Okay, I mean, a lot of people will not pay the money back. Okay, so fees, I mean, he could charge, I'm sure he's charging admin fees, and then he's tacking a lot on, so his fees are probably going to be a little bit higher. So let's just, I'm picking numbers here to give an idea. Let's say it's $500 in fees. Okay, but now here's the other kicker. It's 36% interest APR. 36% is huge, meaning 36% of 10,000, all right, is $3,600 for the year. And that's, that means that's an additional $300 a month. Okay, so if you had, if you're borrowing the 10, and basically that's what you're doing, is you're borrowing the 10,000 from him, and 1 month later you're going to end up owing $10,800. And of course, your interest is going to be, accruing at $300 a month. Quickly that adds up. You just flushed $800 down the drain by not paying your bill up front. Now, from Bill Float's perspective, he has to charge a high APR. Why? He has to cover all of those people that won't pay back. All right. It's like credit cards. All right. I mean, today, in the bank, how much are you getting in your checking account? 1%. Okay. Bank loans, like on a house are at 4%, right? But your credit card interest is up there near 18%. Okay. Why is it that high when, a bank loan on a house, which is secured by the home, is only 4%? Why is the credit card so high? Because we're talking about, funny money here. We're talking about electronic transfers. Someone goes out and they buy that television, for $1,000, and they put it on their credit card. That credit card company is taking a huge risk, because I'm sure the amount of defaults on the payments of their bills is astronomical. And the credit card companies are also hitting you pretty high, because they're only taking a minimum payment and they factor it all in, but their interest rates are high. So, for Bill Float to, have this type of business, the amount that he's going to have to charge you for interest is high. Okay, because why? His risk is greater. Okay, think about it from this perspective also. Let's say you're buying a car. Okay. And you have good credit. Well, one of my coworkers here today, just last week, they bought a car with 0% interest, okay, over 4 years. So basically, the car dealership is just, having them pay cash for it over the course of 4 years with no interest. I mean, that's a huge deal. However, if you have bad credit, okay, there are car lots that are going to charge you, that since you have bad credit, you're a risk to them. If you're not going to be able to buy the car at 0%, okay, you're going to have to go to this alternate dealership, okay, and the interest rate that they're charging right now is 12%. Okay, why? Because you're a big risk. The interest rate goes up commensurate with the risk, and that's why this risk is 36% APR. So I'm just, when I read this problem, these were the things that were, going on in the back of my head thinking about this. And I just thought I'd give you that little bit of extra information, a little bit of extra knowledge, and, as to, how I'm thinking. I mean, if you read this problem and you weren't thinking like that, I mean, it's not to say that that's wrong. It's just that, when I look at situations like this, I'm always trying to think of all the possibilities, okay? And the thing that really hit me most was, 36% APR. That and this business model, which is basically like a credit card company, okay? Except we're dealing strictly in cash. So, right, with that said, I'm going to stop and I will go to problem 25 in the next video. And if you had any problems with this distribution of overhead, watch the beginning part of the video again. And if you still have any questions, telephone and speak with an instructor.